What a week. I'm gone volunteering at a camp where I'm teaching archery. I lose my voice, I get sick, and I come home only to find out that a cult classic turn based strategy RPG from the PSP era is coming back on PS4 and PS5. We have things to talk about. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. My voice is shot, and welcome back to the channel. Hello everyone, if you enjoy what I do, including my coverage of turn-based strategy RPGs such as Jeanne d'Arc or Joan of Arc, which is what we're talking about today, a like on this video and a subscription to the channel would be very much appreciated, in spite of my ruined voice. Thank you so much. So yes, what surprising news has broken as of a couple of days ago, where it was announced that the classic PSP strategy RPG Jeanne d'Arc, or again, Joan of Arc, because I'm sure I'm not pronouncing the proper French correctly, is coming to the PS4 and the PS5 tomorrow, July 16th, if you're watching this on release. I was not expecting this one to ever see the light of day again, let alone to be getting an update, sort of an HD remaster enhancement type deal, and to be dropping so soon after it was announced as well. So what are the details? We've heard surprisingly little about it. This was announced at the bottom of a PlayStation Plus game catalog update. And obviously people who know the turn-based strategy genre are extremely excited about this one. According to the blog post, anyone who is part of the PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium membership tier will be able to download Joan of Arc free of charge and add it to their collection. However, according to RPG site, where I first saw this news break, we should also be able to just purchase the game separately if we so choose. They cite the similar release of the PSP game Daxter that was added to the PlayStation Plus catalog, but also was made available for purchase for $10 if you just wanted to buy the game and did not want to sign up for the subscription service. Hopefully, that's the case for Joan of Arc as well. We'll have to see if that is actually how this plays out. I imagine it probably will. I don't see any reason to keep it locked behind the subscription service. It's not a big enough title to really sell the service to people who wouldn't already otherwise have it. So we'll have to see come tomorrow, but I'm hoping that that is how this plays out. Again, according to RPG site, this updated release of Jeanne d'Arc will receive enhancements such as up-rendering, rewind, quick save, and custom video filters, so essentially being able to play a ROM of it on an emulator with some visual enhancements to go along with it, save states, the works, which is nice. It's not a full rework by any means. We're not looking at a Tactics Ogre Reborn situation here, but that's fine, because it at least puts what is, from everything I have heard, a phenomenal and very beloved cult tactics game in the hands of a lot more people and puts it back on the radar a little bit, hopefully for more attention in the future. I say that because not even I have played Joan of Arc. I had the option to pick it up back in the day when I first got my PSP. I actually had to choose between this and Aegis Eclipse Generation of Chaos, and unfortunately for me, I picked Aegis Eclipse. That's something we're probably going to talk about later this week for the Saturday Strategy Spotlight, but you can see from the Metacritic reviews here, not a great choice. I did, however, dive into the first 30 minutes or so of Joan of Arc in preparation for this video, and I can immediately see why people love it so much. From the almost Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic of the various different cutscenes and character designs and story that was very nostalgic, I expected a lot more anime-esque aesthetic, and it's there, but like, there's a lot of American Saturday morning cartoon. It's really kind of cool. I like that a lot. The tactical combat that's immediately very familiar, very satisfying, very much drawing from things like Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre, and this idea of a very loosely based game set in the mythology of Joan of Arc, who's a very interesting figure in Renaissance history and French history. I don't know as much about her as I probably should, but it's always been an interesting story of this sort of rags to folk hero rebel fighting against the English, and seeing how that's going to be translated into a very much grounded in fantasy, magic, sort of anime medieval setting is going to be a ton of fun. I know people like Coffee Potato absolutely adore the game. He had a video out about this upcoming release a few days before I did, and he seems to be very excited for it. And I am as well, because, I mean, it's a really solid-looking strategy RPG. What little I played seemed well-designed and engaging, good tutorialization, a lot of focus on back attacks and side attacks, different strategies of how you can have one enemy unit keep turning its back to you by hitting it from different sides, having a counterattack and opening up its back to other attacks. transformation states using different levels of skill points, magical attacks that are going to come into play, droppable loot, discoverable loot on battlefields. I'm really liking everything that I'm seeing thus far. Even the sprite work and the art style, it has a very PSP style. Those of you who've played a lot of PSP games back in the day know exactly what I'm talking about. But it looks good, and I'm really excited to see how that translates to an HD updated release. Obviously, you can see here in my footage, the PSP version of the game, very pixelated, especially playing it on a bigger PC screen, very compressed. And I'm really hoping that a lot of these cartoonish, anime-esque cutscenes look nice and crisp when we actually get to see it on the big screen on PS4 and PS5. From what I've heard thus far, the English voice acting is actually really good. I'm hoping that there might also be an option to switch to Japanese voices if you so choose in this updated release. We'll have to see, but even if it's just the English, like, pretty dang solid. Like, I was surprised. It was not any sort of cringy or anything like that, like a lot of these older JRPG, strategy RPG releases that had voice acting tended to be back in the day. Remember, this is a 2006, 2007 release. We're going a while back here, and it's pretty good considering that. Of course, we do need to keep in mind that this could be a disastrous port as well. You'll often see these sort of cult classics get a quote-unquote updated re-release on modern hardware that's little more than just a ROM slapped into the framework of whatever console they're being put on, with a lot of bugs and issues, performance problems, frame stuttering, sound compression. A lot of things like that can happen when you're moving a game from one hardware environment to another, especially when it's something that is very small, very niche, and not probably given the attention that it deserves. Is it going to be bad? No, not necessarily. Like, it could very well be a very solid release, but maybe look at a little bit of content and coverage from people like myself before you buy into it, especially depending on what the price winds up being, because this could wind up being a very problematic release from a mechanical standpoint. We'll have to see. That said, though, I'm absolutely going to be covering this. I'm planning to start streaming the game tomorrow as soon as it is available after I get off of work. I'm hoping that we can get through the entire game in fairly short order, and I'll probably do some videos about it as well. As an older release, I don't know that necessarily releasing guides would be useful, but on the other hand, it's also such a niche title that it might not hurt to put out some tips and tricks, guides, secrets, videos, things like that. Because, I mean, there's not much coverage. When I was looking up some initial footage to be able to use before I just played the game myself for a little while to get footage, Coffee Potato's video was one of the only ones that I saw that was even talking about the fact that this game was coming out. So it could be worth it to put some other content out there. If there's a particular type of video that you'd like to see about this release, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to put a lot of work into it because it seems like it's going to be a ton of fun. And the more time that I can spend with games like this, the happier that I am. Also, let me know if you are planning on picking this up for yourself. I have had a number of people ask me over the years if I had ever played Joan of Arc, if I was ever planning on covering it. So I know there's fans out there in the audience. So let me know what your thoughts are as someone who maybe has a lot of experience with the title compared to myself who does not. With all that said, though, I'm going to wrap this one up here. My name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. Thank you for bearing with my scratchy, rough voice. I promise it will be better soon. I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.